Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. But not only that, it's the first wrestling review of the new year. And it is Royal Rumble season, so we're looking at some not only Royal Rumble matches, but matches that happened at the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns, ever since becoming Universal Champion, had been on a tear, mowing over competitors left and right. But what happens when the next person to step up and try to take the title from him happens to be a very familiar face for him? And his old buddy and old Shield mate, Seth Rollins. I'm talking about Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at Royal Rumble 2022. As always, I'm not professional wrestling reviewer analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time, and I definitely had a real good time with this match. Now, I did watch the Royal Rumble from 2022. It wasn't great, but this was the only match I missed. I forgot why I missed it. I think because I had to work, and so by the time I got off, the match had already came and went because this match did open up the show. Yeah, a Roman Reigns match for the Universal Championship in the middle of his run as the Tribal Chief slash head of the table, opening up a show. Yeah, that's ludicrous, but yeah, it did open up the show, and by the time I got to it, it had already passed. I always told myself I would go back and rewatch it, and I'm glad I finally did because this match ruled. And compared to how the rest of the show went, I'm glad I did because honestly, the rest of the show is kind of downhill from there. This is definitely one of the weaker, not just Royal Rumble events, but featuring two of probably the weakest Rumble matches possibly ever. But nevertheless, Roman and Seth are here to at least attempt to save the day. But it's not really gonna have too much bearing on the match itself. Here's the rest of the card, but it is worth mentioning. But without further ado, let's get right into it. And if you've seen this reviews before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm gonna be talking about what I liked and what I disliked about the match. So starting with what I liked, both men really going back and forth is really nice. I feel like sadly, Roman's kind of got into a pattern where he dominates most of the match, then his opposition gets some offense in, and then Roman closes out and is ultimately victorious to the end, but not quite here. And I think it does play into the story. First of all, it is worth mentioning Seth comes out not only with the Shield entrance, but with his Shield gear. He comes through the crowd and everything, and more of the mind games getting inside Roman's head. And to see the face when Roman realizes what's going on with the music and everything is pretty funny. But Seth able to work around Roman, at least in kayfabe, knowing exactly what makes Roman tick. It plays into their history so well. Obviously, their history is there with the Shield gear, but then to expound further upon it with Seth getting quite the jump on Roman, and Seth having an answer for almost everything Roman's doing, including that awesome pedigree into the spear spot. It's something that's been done before multiple times. I think the first time that happened was when they faced at Money in the Bank 2016, but it's still really awesome to see every single time. But Seth having Roman's number, which is kind of how it's been throughout their careers. If you think about it, with the exception of maybe one or two matches, is Roman has never really truly been able to beat Seth, and it's something that they don't really play too much upon in the match itself, which I think is unfortunate. But it is something that you see in the mannerisms and the way the match goes. It's action. Seth having a counter for just about everything. That and Seth in kayfabe being such a cerebral competitor, but especially when it comes to Roman knowing exactly where to strike, how to take down Roman, including two power bombs. The first through the announce table, and then a buckle bomb into the corner, the buckle bomb, aka the most unbanned banned move of all time because it's supposed to be banned, but Seth's gonna do it anyway. Hey, you try telling him he can't, but Roman still, of course, gets his offense and still beats down Seth as well, but Seth still able to get his stuff in. So it's pretty evenly matched throughout, which compared to the other matches is a nice change of pace. Admittedly, like I think Roman does dominate a bit too much. Now, granted, nothing wrong with Roman being dominant. He is the champion and everything, but but it feels like oftentimes he gets way too much of the offense in and does a lot of walking around. He definitely gets his 15,000 steps in per day, hey, which is nice. But Seth is having none of that because almost every moment is filled with action. There's very few respites. There's some, but very few. Unlike the other ones where Roman really walks around and stuff, of really showing Seth is a lot different compared to the other competitors who aren't quite as familiar with Roman and his tactics. But and nevertheless, so Seth does bring it to Roman, and eventually he with Seth continuing to mock Roman, including the shield fist after Roman takes him down with the Superman the shield fist. That's what sends Roman over the edge, and he pretty much just destroys Seth after that. He locks him in the guillotine, which is it me or does Roman not use the guillotine as much anymore? I feel like he doesn't really use it that much anymore, which does kind of suck because a guy the size of Roman doing the guillotine is actually pretty impressive and does make it look deadly. But Seth then passes out. Even though he is grabbing the ropes, Roman's not letting go. So Seth passes out. The ref calls for the bell. So Roman is disqualified. So Seth technically doesn't lose, but he doesn't gain the title. And then afterwards, Roman snaps, taking the chair, whomping it into Seth's back. That's for your betrayal in 2014, Seth. There's your karma. But then just continuing to waylay the chair onto Seth, and then does it again with a second chair. Or, so, it is a DQ finish, but you know what? For the most part, I think they're able to get away with it with the stuff that happens afterwards. Plus the fact that there's no bloodline interference, because one of the stipulations for this match, which they mentioned on commentary, but then I saw also on the wiki, is that the Usos were banned from ringside. Not even Paul Heyman was out there with him. So I guess Paul must have been banned too, or just didn't show up. And obviously this is before Solo. I don't even think Solo was with WWE yet at this point. If he was still in NXT. But yeah, so even though Seth doesn't get the title, he still wins the match and still looks relatively strong in defeat, I'd say. Rowan looks like an absolute monster, so they're able to accomplish their two goals there, which is nice. Like, Roman still looks powerful, he still is the champion. Meanwhile, Seth still gets his stuff in and causes Roman to pretty much snap to the point where Roman's even talking to himself, which, to be fair, he does that sometimes. Either that or mocking his opponent, but really directly talking to himself, showing Seth really being in Roman's head, which really was like the build leading up to the match. I do remember that build being that Seth is in Roman's head, and it causes Roman to snap here and go full on postal on Seth here. So Seth, I guess, gets what he wants by causing Roman to snap, but doesn't quite get the Universal Championship. So he does fail in that mission, but yeah, really good, really solid match. That's way better than everything else on that card, unfortunately. But if I had to find some stuff to nitpick about, I know some people probably aren't the biggest fans of the DQ finish, because it's not really super decisive. And it's not like Roman intentionally got himself disqualified. It's not like he low blowed to cause disqualification. It's more so that he's snapping. So it plays into that character. But I know some people would probably be soured on the DQ finish. The fact that it's not quite a decisive finish, which I think does kind of suck. And then there's some of the stuff on commentary. I mentioned before, commentary usually doesn't play too much a factor, unless it's really, really good or really, really bad in the match. Otherwise, they're mostly just there. But Pat McAfee, doing a little too much cheerleading on behalf of Roman, which I forgot how much he did that in his first like commentary stint. And I still love Pat McAfee on commentary. Don't get me wrong, but I think he does it a little bit too much. It's not as bad as say Nigel McGuinness in AEW, who just not really my cup of tea. I think Nigel McGuinness does fine, but he does like the heel worshiping a little too much for my liking, and it gets really annoying. Pat almost gets there, but thankfully stops short on some occasions. And it's not, and he doesn't even do like full Corey Graves either, or because Corey Graves does go overboard with it sometimes. Like it's just enough to be annoying, but not quite enough to be infuriating. If that makes any sense. Like again, nothing really against heel commentary in general. Like commentators that more so favor the heels. I think it's fine if A, the person that's doing it is entertaining, and B, they do bring up some good points, and it's not just it's it's not like super duper blatant favoritism towards the heels. Like I think JBL for the most part is able to get away with it as commentator that, and JBL just says funny stuff even when he is doing like the favoritism towards the heels. He's just funny about but it did get a little bit annoying, but otherwise still a really good match. Definitely recommend checking it out, and shame on me for taking this long to get to it, but since we're in the Royal Rumble season, it gives me an excuse to go back and finally watch this match. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on the match, my review. Did you like select the match? Did you like select my review of the match? Let me know. Oh, and we got plenty of other Royal Rumble reviews coming for the month of January, I should say. We're keeping it rolling all month long. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.